Welcome to People Who Inspire. I'm your host, Mary Dreliszak. If you've ever failed at something, suffered a setback, or feel like you can't get ahead, you know adversity. So does our guest today, Dominick Domasky. He's experienced all this and more, and each time, he's brushed himself off and gotten back up again. He's a motivational speaker, an author, sales expert, and founder of the motivational platform called Motivational Champs. He says adversity is what makes us stronger. Dominick, how can failing be good for us?
Well, the thing is, Mary, you have to get out of your comfort zone to succeed. Whether you're a little kid and you want to be a baseball player, the first time you get up to bat, you are going to miss. You're not going to be good at anything your first time through it. So you have to put in the blood, sweat, and the tears to be good at something. And that's why you're going to get knocked down. It's going to happen. But getting knocked down, getting out of your comfort zone, that's what makes you better.
And get back up again. You have a platform called Motivation Champs. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. What Motivation Champs is, early on, I wrote a book years ago. I wrote my first book, and I thought the world was all about me. I was like, whoa, I wrote a book. And what I realized is everybody has a story. After talking to inspiring people like you or meeting people, I started to think, wow, they got a story. Wow, that person on social media has a story. That athlete has a story. So rather than it being all about myself, I was naive. I started to think, I could help that person share their story. I was inspired by their story, and so that's what we did. Motivation Champs helps share inspiration. Sometimes it's a meme of a dog chasing its tail that says, today I'm going to get my tail. And sometimes it's a quote from Gandhi. Inspiration's everywhere.
Very good. And it's motivationchamps.com. Why are you so passionate about motivation and inspiration? What drives this?
I think you touched on it early. I've failed at a lot of stuff. I've been down, I've been out, I've been punched, I've been cut from the team, I've even had butter wiped in my hair, been broke, and each time I went, my dad gave me a book when I was young. It was called The World's Greatest Salesman by Og Mandino. And in that book, it had scrolls. And if you did something 30 straight days, it became a habit. And one of the scrolls was, I must persist until I succeed. I must persist until I succeed. I must persist until I succeed. And eventually, if you'd said it 30 straight days, you didn't have to say it anymore. You just did it. And through my life, when I've been down or out, I started turning to those greats, Og Mandino, Zig Ziglar, yourself, the athletes, The Rock, all these inspirational people, and started saying, I could do that.
That's right.
And being that it helped me through all those times, now when I face adversity, it's almost like a moment of clarity. I'm not worried about, adversity is going to happen, and I'm not worried about, can I make it through this? I'm thinking, I'm going to make it through this, and because of this, I'm going to be better.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Exactly. And I would think that to have that kind of to drive, you would have had to have really been at your lowest of lows. It's at one point in your life that allowed you to get back up, and anything after that can't seem nearly as bad. I'd imagine. Am I right about that?
We're all going to face bad things. And like I could say you've seen rock bottom, but there is no rock bottom. If something bad's going to come up, something bad's going to happen again, and you can handle it, I can handle it. So that's how I look at it.
It's all about attitude.
Yeah, it's perception. So there's been things that happened that were very bad. Like being broke, that stunk,
Right.
Oh, and the IRS,
That's right.
Lots of money, that stunk. My son being ill or getting fired from a job, all those things happen, but
Exactly. It's how you respond.
It is what it is.
It's how you respond.
Right.
You're living in the moment,
Right.
being present. Among the books you've authored is your most recent, and it's called Journey of a Grunt. First of all, what's a grunt?
I get asked that a lot. And the journey of a grunt, technical terms, let's speak technical. Technical term, it's a soldier who is on the front lines down in the trenches. Okay. It is also a laborer who is the low man on the totem pole. So through my life, I've been the low man on the totem pole. I've never been as brave as the soldiers down in the trenches, but I've been that man climbing around on the ground, down and out, the one with the the bad job, the bad task, the bad chore. I've been there, and that's what the grunt is to me.
What was the worst job you ever had?
I had a lot of bad jobs,
Okay.
but I think the thing I hate the most, and I say this a lot, when I worked for my dad, he has a landscape company, and I hated picking up cigarette butts. And I always had to pick up, with 5-gallon buckets, pick up cigarette butts. And these little cigarette butts, I had to pick them up all the time. Actually, one time I went to my dad and I said, "Dad, why do I got to pick up these cigarette butts all the time? Why? And he said, "Dominick," he said, "those little cigarette butts you're picking up," he said, "the reason I have this job that you're on today," and he had been in business like 40 years at that time, 50 years now, "the reason that I have that job is because I was willing to pick up the cigarette butts when nobody else was." So I did hate it, but it did teach me attention to detail and a lot of other lessons too.
That's good. I'm glad you said that too, because so often, even kids who have part-time jobs are working somewhere and they might not like whatever it is that they're doing. There's really a value in it. There's a lesson in it, and they can learn it when they're doing their job. If you're sweeping the floor, that's your floor, that's your corner,
Right.
that's your dirt. It belongs to you, and it's within you and the pride that you have in the work that you do to make it right and to own it. So you develop that mindset.
Well, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. And so here you are. You're an author. You've authored several books. The Journey of the Grunt. Tell me about a couple of others that you have worked on.
All right. The Journey of a Grunt, that's my newest one.
Yeah.
And then I did a book, Go Ask Your Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Fatherhood's a message I'm very passionate about. I think it's very inspirational. So this book, Go Ask Your Dad, I recruited 30 authors from all over the globe to help me write a book on fatherhood. While I'm passionate about fatherhood, alone I may not be qualified to write a book on fatherhood. So I recruited all these dads from across the globe, and they helped me write a book on fatherhood.
What are some of the topics? Like, what do they talk about? I imagine each one is different. I
Oh,
know they
completely
are.
different.
Yes.
One gentleman says his dad was a man among men. He was a soldier, and he says he award-winning soldier, but he was a terrible dad, and he was never there for him. And the guy in the book says, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree unless it wants to. So he made a choice that he could change. Or some people grew up maybe with their mother raising them. And their mother, they learned from their mother how to be a man and became very successful. Another gentleman never had a father. His mother was addicted to drugs. His brother was murdered in front of him. And he ended up committing terrible crimes and spending a life behind bars. But he also had children, and he tells that story of not being there for his children. So every story in Go Ask Your Dad completely different.
Absolutely. Everybody has their own unique story, their own unique lesson, and their own unique perspective.
And we can learn from all.
Absolutely. And even on your Journey of the Grunt, you really show in that book the value of every chore and task that you do.
Right, they all teach you something. I am better for every cigarette butt I picked up, every weed, every dish I washed, every business decision that I made that was poor.
Yes.
10 years, 15 years later,
Yes.
I'm stronger because of it. If you're smart, you won't keep banging your head against the wall
That's
over
right.
and over.
I can imagine too, even as an author, every detail, everything that you do, even as a sales expert in sales as well, so many details involved, and it goes right back to that picking up the cigarette butts. It's every detail that's now ingrained in you, that nothing is too small to not matter.
Right. The details do matter.
Exactly, they do.
Right.
Exactly, they do. So now you're helping others tell their story and giving them a platform. Tell me a little bit about that.
I'm very proud of that. And everybody has a story to tell. And why I'm so proud of that is because not everybody wants to be an author. Not everybody wants to write movies or whatever, but everybody has something to say. So on my pages, social media pages, Motivation Champs, it's group Motivation Champs. Thousands of people are on it, or on Twitter, follow me, and they share inspiration all day long, every day. So it could just be the sunset they see or something like that. It could be something their kid did at school. It could be a book they read. They're all sharing inspiration. Yeah. So with that too, some people do want to be an author. Some people do want to write a children's book. And we also help those people share inspiration however it is.
That's right.
Sometimes it's on social media, sometimes it's right in a book.
Exactly. So you help publish those books as well. So what you're really doing is giving everyone a voice who has a story to tell and who can be an inspiration to other people in doing that. And you also have your own voice too as well, not only as an author but also as a speaker. So as a speaker, what audiences do you talk to? What do you do?
I've done everything from small businesses and Rotaries to Carnegie Mellon and the University of Pittsburgh. So it runs the gamut. I usually talk just like this. I say, when I'm talking, I share inspiration, and I'm going to do Pittsburgh style, modern day, blue collar, in your face inspiration with a touch of humor. I got to be authentic. I can't tell you that I'm a business mogul or something like that. I'm just a guy trying to find happiness on a journey, and that's my message.
That's wonderful. And you do use humor in your presentations. How does humor fit into your life, and how does it fit into your experience of adversity?
I think you got to see the humor in everything. Laugh at the world. Like, I get it. I messed up. I made mistakes. And rather than like hide from them, I just say, hey, I messed up. I'm going to tell you about it. I could be a little embarrassed, but it happened. I acknowledge it. I accept responsibility for it. And now I am going to be better because of it. So I try to find the humor. And
that's good. That's good. And bring that humor to other people's lives.
Right.
Because we make mistakes, or if we fail at something or something doesn't go well, we can be really mad about it. Again, it goes back to how you respond to a situation. So your response is such a healthy response.
Thank you.
That is a very good thing. What's next for you, Dominick?
Right now, I really want to help. I really want to help people share inspiration. I'm so passionate about that, and it's growing like a weed. Where I used to have to beg people to post on my sites. I'd say, hey, I'll buy you lunch or something like that if you post. So nowadays, what would you call that? And it grew on its own. But personally, I am working on a couple movies right now. So what do I know about movies? I don't know, but you keep moving forward every day. If Sylvester Stallone can write Rocky in a weekend, I think I could study a little bit. So I read scripts and write and write and write. And now I have a couple ideas that are very far along, and I'm looking to connect with some people. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's all inspiration.
All inspiration.
And good for you for picking this up and saying, I can do this. I'm going to do this. It's in me. And I'm going to do it. And I think there's an appetite, a real appetite for inspiration. And with bad news that we can turn on the TV and see any day, we need that light. We need that. So thank you for being that light in the lives of so many others.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. No matter what you're going through, it's within you to rise above it, to never give up, and to know you are stronger and better for what you've gone through. As Dominick shared, adversity doesn't have to be a stumbling block. Use it as a stepping stone instead to move your life forward. Thanks so much for being with us.